The screen flickers to life. Two combatants face off. A pixelated figure raises his hands, and from the depths of the screen, a spear erupts, dragging his opponent forward. Then, a single shocking word appears. Fatality. In 1992, Mortal Kombat didn't just enter the arcade, it detonated a cultural bomb. It was more than a game, it was a rebellion. At a time when video games were seen as child's play, Mortal Kombat dared to be brutal, visceral, and unapologetically adult. Its digitized graphics gave it a grim, realistic edge that cartoons couldn't match, and its over-the-top violence sparked a moral panic that led to congressional hearings and the creation of the ESRB rating system. But beyond the controversy, it mattered because it forged identity. It presented a diverse, mythology-rich world of ninjas, gods, and special forces, giving players iconic characters to champion. Mortal Kombat proved games could be about more than high scores. They could be about mythology, competition, and testing your own limits with a bloody, satisfying thud. The original Mortal Kombat was a phenomenon, but its success was shadowed by a firestorm. While its digitized actors and secret fatalities captivated players, it was the sight of realistic blood, that shocking scarlet spray, that ignited a national controversy. Parents and politicians were horrified. Here was a game not with cartoonish violence, but with what appeared to be graphic, lifelike brutality accessible to any kid with quarters. This outrage reached a fever pitch during the 1993 congressional hearings on video game violence, where Mortal Kombat stood center stage alongside Night Trap. Senators grilled industry leaders, showcasing the game's fatalities as evidence of a moral decay. The industry, fearing government regulation, was forced to act. This direct pressure led to the creation of the Entertainment Software Rating Board, the ESRB, a self-imposed rating system still used today. Thus, Mortal Kombat's legacy was cemented not just in arcades, but in the very fabric of how video games are sold and regulated, forever changing the relationship between gaming and society. The fatality, a single word that became synonymous with Mortal Kombat itself. More than a finishing move, it was a cultural detonation. While other games offered a simple victory pose, Mortal Kombat demanded a spectacle of visceral, pixelated violence. Sub-Zero ripping out a spine, Scorpion's fiery spear and skull, these weren't just attacks, they were shocking, cinematic statements. This deliberate provocation became the franchise's defining and most controversial feature. It was the central piece of evidence in the 1990s congressional hearings on video game violence, directly leading to the creation of the ESRB rating system. Mortal Kombat was put on trial, and it thrived on the infamy. The fatality phenomenon revealed a fascinating truth about audience psychology. It tapped into a primal cathartic release, transforming the winner's moment into a power fantasy of ultimate dominance. This ritualistic overkill became a reward, a secret to be discovered and shared, fueling playground myths and cementing the game's notoriety. The fatality didn't just end a match. It forever changed the game industry's relationship with content and consequence. The rivalry between Scorpion and Sub-Zero isn't just the spine of Mortal Kombat's story. It is the perfect duality that defines the entire franchise. Sub-Zero, the disciplined Lin Kuei assassin, represents cold, calculated control. His powers are defensive and precise, a reflection of his strategic mind. Scorpion, the vengeful specter, is pure, unadulterated fury. His hellfire and spear are offensive, aggressive, and fueled by raw emotion. This contrast extends beyond their elements. It's order versus chaos, duty versus passion, life versus death. Their iconic designs visually cement this. Sub-Zero's blue uniform is sleek and uniform, while Scorpion's tattered yellow suggests a spirit broken and reforged in hell. They are two sides of the same coin, forever linked by a cycle of murder and revenge that has spanned generations. Ultimately, Their conflict transcends a simple grudge. It explores themes of honor, loss, and the corrupting nature of vengeance. They are more than fighters. They are the elemental forces of the Mortal Kombat universe, and their eternal struggle is what gives the saga its enduring, beating heart. The Mortal Kombat tournament is not merely a battle. It is a sacred covenant, a cosmic rule established by the Elder Gods to prevent outright invasion between realms. Held once every generation, it dictates that if one realm wins 10 consecutive tournaments, they earn the right to conquer the loser. This framework transforms every fight from simple brutality into a high-stakes ritual for survival. Earthrealm, Young and Vulnerable, has lost the first 9 tournaments. As the 10th and final decisive tournament approaches, the fate of our world hangs in the balance. This is why Raiden gathers his champions: Liu Kang, Sonya Blade, Johnny Cage. They are not just fighters, they are reluctant soldiers in an ancient hidden war. The Outworld Emperor Shao Kahn manipulates the rules, scheming to claim his prize through deceit and overwhelming force. Every uppercut, every fired projectile, carries the weight of billions of souls. The tournament grounds become a stage where mythology is written in blood and bone, where the very concept of Mortal Kombat is tested to its absolute limit.
Машины, Сектор. Я служу клану Линквей, но я не отдам свободу воли.
The 1995 Mortal Kombat film faced a daunting task: translate a hyper-violent arcade game into a studio blockbuster. Wisely, it chose atmosphere over gore. Director Paul W. Anderson embraced the game's mystical essence, trading fatalities for a palpable, almost gothic sense of style. The iconic techno theme, the shadowy sets of Outworld, and the careful, character-focused introductions of Scorpion and Sub-Zero created a world that felt authentic. The casting proved inspired. Christopher Lambert's eccentric, lightning-charged Raiden anchored the film, while Lyndon Ashby and Bridgette Wilson brought a relatable human core as Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade. The film's greatest success, however, was its commitment to the game's fantastical combat. It delivered spectacular, acrobatic fights that prioritized the unique abilities of each warrior, making the tournament itself the undeniable star. While critics dismissed it, the film achieved something crucial. It captured the spirit of the franchise. It was a sleek, entertaining gateway that respected its source material, proving that a video game adaptation could be a genuine crowd-pleasing hit. The initial 3D era of Mortal Kombat, beginning with Mortal Kombat 4 in 1997, marked a period of steep decline. The shift to polygonal graphics felt rushed and awkward, stripping away the dark, detailed atmosphere that defined the series. The games felt clunky, losing the precise, if brutal, flow of their 2D predecessors. Furthermore, the narrative lost its way. The compelling saga of Outworld invasion and elemental gods devolved into a convoluted mess involving Shinnok's amulet, the Red Dragon, and increasingly silly new characters. The edgy digitized aesthetic was replaced by a cartoonish, almost garish style that failed to resonate. This era was also defined by fierce competition. While Mortal Kombat struggled to find its footing in 3D, rivals like Tekken and Soul Calibur offered deeper, more polished fighting systems. The once dominant franchise now seemed like a follower, not a leader. By the decade's end, Mortal Kombat was no longer the cultural titan it had been, perceived as a relic struggling to adapt to a new dimension. The golden age of Mortal Kombat could not shield Midway from a harsh reality. While the franchise itself was a powerhouse, the company's financial foundation was crumbling. The costly shift to 3D development strained resources, and not every game was a hit. Titles like Mortal Kombat, Special Forces were critical and commercial failures, draining capital. More critically, Midway was burdened by massive debt. Its parent company, WMS Industries, sold Midway to a group of investors in 1998, but this included a staggering $150 million debt load. This anchor weighed down every project, Despite the success of games like Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, the revenue was often swallowed by interest payments and operating costs. Midway was caught in a vicious cycle. They needed blockbuster hits to survive, but the pressure to deliver quickly, combined with their debt, often compromised development. The arcade market, their original lifeblood, was also dying. By the mid-2000s, Midway was hemorrhaging money, setting the stage for a catastrophic fall, even as the Mortal Kombat team fought to keep the iconic franchise alive. After the mixed reception of the 3D era, the series needed to strike back. Enter 2011's simply titled Mortal Kombat, a full reboot that masterfully reset the timeline. This wasn't just a sequel, it was a complete do-over, returning to the visceral 2D style combat that made the franchise famous. The story mode was revolutionary, framed through Raiden's failed timeline sending visions to his past self. It revisited and rewrote the events of the first 3 tournaments. We fought as different characters chapter by chapter, experiencing a cohesive cinematic narrative that finally did justice to the franchise's lore. Crucially, it brought back the brutal essence. The X-ray moves were a standout, showing bones shattering in slow-motion detail before a devastating blow landed. It felt punishing and powerful, with its refined fighting system, stellar story, and a concentric challenge tower. This reboot was a triumphant return to form. It proved that, by honoring its past while innovating, Mortal Kombat could reclaim its throne as the king of fighters. The sale of Midway's assets in 2009 marked a turning point. Warner Brothers Interactive acquired the Mortal Kombat team, and Ed Boon's studio was reborn as NetherRealm Studios. This wasn't just a name change, it was a rescue. With Warner's backing, the studio gained crucial stability and resources. Their first test was a triumphant return to form. 2011 simply titled Mortal Kombat. This reboot masterfully honored the classic 2D fighting while weaving the first 3 games' timelines into a cohesive, modern story. It was a critical and commercial hit, proving NetherRealm understood the franchise's soul. But Warner's ownership offered more than just security. It opened doors to iconic DC characters, leading to the successful Injustice series. This cross-pollination of ideas refined NetherRealm's narrative focus and technical prowess, which they fed back into Mortal Kombat. The studio was no longer just surviving, it was innovating, setting a new standard for story-driven fighting games under a powerful new banner. The modern era of Mortal Kombat is defined by a relentless refinement of its core fighting mechanics. While the gruesome fatalities remain a signature, the true depth lies in systems designed for strategic variety and competitive balance. The introduction of the variation system in MKX allowed each character multiple fighting styles, dramatically expanding roster versatility. This evolved further in MK11 with custom variations, letting players tailor their fighters' special moves. MK11 also emphasized a more deliberate, footsie-based combat pace. The offensive meter was split, creating a constant strategic choice between enhancing special moves or using defensive roles and escapes. The crushing blow system rewarded precise, conditional attacks with cinematic, high-damage sequences, turning successful reads into monumental moments. Meanwhile, the fatal blow serves as a dramatic comeback mechanic, a time-used desperation move that becomes available when a fighter's health drops critically. These interconnected systems create a compelling push and pull, where every decision from resource management to spacing carries significant weight in the fight for survival. The evolution of Mortal Kombat's story mode is a journey from cryptic lore to cinematic epic. Early games told their tales through endings and manual text, leaving players to piece together a mythology. This changed with 2004's Mortal Kombat: Deception, introducing Conquest Mode, a clumsy but ambitious open-world story adventure. The true revolution arrived with 2011's franchise reboot. Its story mode was a seamless, playable movie cutting between characters during a cohesive narrative. This set a new industry standard, making the narrative a central pillar, not an afterthought. Mortal Kombat 11 and its Aftermath expansion further refined this, offering branching chapters and high production values rivaling Hollywood blockbusters. This progression mirrors a broader shift in fighting games, proving a compelling, accessible narrative can be a major draw. Story mode transformed Mortal Kombat from a tournament into a genuine saga, giving context to the violence and deepening player investment in its iconic, brutal world. While its reputation for over-the-top violence persists, Mortal Kombat has quietly built a serious and enduring competitive scene. Governed by the Professional Gamers League, the MK esports circuit features major tournaments like the annual Mortal Kombat Pro competition, culminating in a world championship with substantial prize pools. The focus is intensely technical, far removed from button mashing. High-level play is a complex dance of frame data, flawless blocking, and ruthless optimization of each game's unique mechanics, such as the crushing blows and fatal blows of the recent titles. Characters are meticulously tiered, and matchups are studied with surgical precision. This dedicated competitive community, however, operates in a unique space. The graphic fatalities and violent aesthetic, central to MK's identity, can limit mainstream esports appeal and sponsorship opportunities. Yet, for its players and fans, this contrast is part of the charm. A deep, punishing fighting game thriving within its own brutal, unapologetic universe, proving competitive legitimacy needs no compromise. Mortal Kombat's universe is vast, but its boldest moves have been reaching beyond its own realms. The tradition of guest characters began in earnest with the 2008 crossover Mortal Kombat verse. DC Universe, proving that even superheroes could fit the brutal tone. This opened the floodgates. NetherRealm then mastered the art of the shocking guest. The Mortal Kombat 11 era became a pop culture hall of horrors, welcoming icons from entirely different franchises. The Terminator, RoboCop, and Rambo brought cinematic brutality, while Spawn and the Joker delivered comic book chaos. Perhaps the peak was the inclusion of horror legends like Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Leatherface, and Ash Williams, making the Combat Pack feel like a gruesome all-star game. These crossovers are more than novelty. They are a statement of cultural impact, placing Mortal Kombat alongside legendary franchises as an equal. Each guest is a meticulously crafted love letter adapted perfectly to the game's mechanics, proving that in the right hands, any character can find a home in the arena. After the ambitious but divisive reboot timeline, Mortal Kombat 11 represents a homecoming. It's a refinement, a deliberate polishing of every system to a brilliant sheen. The story mode concludes the saga with spectacular cinematic flair, bringing closure to the epic begun in MK9, but the true genius lies in the gameplay mechanics. The offensive-minded aggression of MKX is reined in by two brilliant additions: the defensive meter and the flawless block. These systems reward precise timing and thoughtful play, creating a more strategic, footsie-based neutral game. The crushing blow system further deepens this, offering powerful cinematic rewards for meeting specific conditions during a match, turning familiar special moves into dramatic momentum shifters. Furthermore, the custom variation system finally liberates character builds from predefined archetypes, allowing for unprecedented personalization. While the grind for gear in the Towers of Time was initially controversial, subsequent updates balanced the experience. Mortal Kombat 11 stands as a testament to the series' maturity, a fighting game that is both brutally accessible and endlessly deep, truly refining the formula into something approaching perfection. The timeline reset in Mortal Kombat 1 is not a simple reboot. It is a deliberate act of creation by Fire God Liu Kang, who now wields the power of a titan. This new era, born from the ashes of the old, is his attempt at a lasting peace. We see familiar characters, but their destinies are rewritten. Scorpion and Sub-Zero are now brothers, Kuai Liang and Baihan allies in the Lin Kuei. Melina's struggle is with a disease, not inherent evil. This fresh canvas allows the narrative to explore new dynamics and alliances, free from the weight of decades of lore. Yet, peace is fragile. Shang Tsung, though initially a pauper, inevitably claws his way toward power, proving that some destinies are hard to erase. The story masterfully balances the comfort of the familiar with the thrill of the unknown. Ultimately, MK1 asks a profound question: even with godlike power to design reality, can you truly eliminate conflict, or do you merely reshape it? The new timeline is both a gift and an experiment, one already threatened by unseen forces from other realities. The cultural impact of Mortal Kombat is inseparable from the censorship battles it ignited. Its digitized violence, notably the fatalities, became a lightning rod for controversy, directly leading to the 1993 U.S. Senate hearings on video game violence. This wasn't just about a game, it was a societal clash over art, entertainment, and responsibility. The result was the creation of the ESRB rating system, a permanent fixture on game boxes today. This institutionalized censorship, but also legitimized games as a medium for mature audiences. MK's notoriety fueled its fame, embedding phrases like "finish him" and "fatality" into the pop culture lexicon. Globally, the battles continued. Games were banned or heavily modified in countries like Germany, Japan, and Australia, highlighting differing cultural thresholds for violence. Mortal Kombat, therefore, stands as a pivotal case study. It forced the world to grapple with interactive violence, shaping not only how games are regulated, but also how they are discussed and perceived as a cultural force.
Судьба земного обречена, Найтвульф. Еще нет. Мы сражаемся до конца.
While the iconic digitized graphics of Mortal Kombat are unforgettable, its soundscape is what truly brought the experience to life. The soundtrack, composed by Dan Forden, masterfully set the tone. Tracks like the haunting Goro's Lair with its ominous bells, or the adrenaline-pumping The Pit, created an atmosphere of otherworldly danger and tension. This music wasn't just background. It was a core component of the game's gritty, mystical identity. Equally legendary is the voice acting, defined by its raw, low-fidelity charm. The unforgettable shouts of "Get over here" and "Toasty" are etched into gaming history. Performed by the development team themselves, these lines possessed a genuine, almost accidental charisma. The gruff pronouncements of the announcer, the pained grunts of combat, and the character-specific taunts added a layer of personality that pure visuals could not achieve. Together, this gritty audio design, the atmospheric music, and the iconic sample voices forged an immersive and unforgettable sensory experience that cemented Mortal Kombat's place in pop culture. As the Mortal Kombat franchise looks ahead, its future is a blend of honoring its past and aggressively innovating. NetherRealm Studios has mastered the live service model with Mortal Kombat 1, suggesting a long-tail future of ongoing character additions, story expansions, and meta-shifting balance patches. The narrative has been completely rebooted, offering a fresh sandbox for familiar characters and unexpected alliances. Beyond the mainline games, the horizon expands. The success of the animated films and the live-action movie universe indicates a rich transmedia future. A sequel to the 2021 film is in development, and the possibility of a shared cinematic universe with DC characters remains tantalizing. Furthermore, the explosive growth of the fighting game community and esports ensures Mortal Kombat will continue to evolve as a competitive spectacle. The core will always be a visceral fighter, but the franchise is now positioned as a persistent, ever-growing platform for both storytelling and high-level play. 30 years and countless fatalities later, Mortal Kombat's reign continues. Its success is not a fluke, but a brutal formula perfected. It understood that visceral spectacle, the bone-cracking combat, and iconic gore creates a cultural footprint nothing else can match. Yet beneath the blood lies a surprisingly deep lore, a sprawling, operatic saga that gives weight to every punch and kick. It has consistently evolved, absorbing new gameplay ideas and technological leaps, while never betraying its core identity. From arcade cabinets to cinematic universes, it has expanded into a true multimedia empire. Ultimately, Mortal Kombat endures because it fulfills a primal fantasy with polished, uncompromising execution. It is the fighting game that feels consequential, where every match is a story and every victory is earned in the most emphatic way possible. It doesn't just compete, it dominates, reminding everyone why it remains the undisputed king of the combat genre.